You've told yourself you'll wait for confirmation before entering, and then a few seconds later, you're in the trade anyway, early, again. Or you take a normal, planned for loss, and within minutes you're back in another trade, sized a little bigger, trying to make it back. You know exactly what happened. You've probably written it down before. Never again. And yet, a few weeks later, you're back here, in a slightly different setup. What if this isn't a discipline problem? What if it's something with a much longer history than your trading account? Most traders respond to this with, I need a better plan, or I need more discipline. So they write more rules. And often, nothing changes. Not because the plan is wrong, but because the plan describes the trader they intend to be, and intentions don't override what happens once money is actually on the line. There's the trader you are on paper, disciplined, patient, calm. And the trader who shows up when a position is open and the outcome isn't decided yet. In psychology, that gap has a name, the persona, the version of yourself you present even to yourself. And the shadow, everything that doesn't fit that picture. It doesn't disappear because your trading plan ignores it. In trading, where every decision is time-stamped and measured in money, it tends to show up fast and clearly. This pattern usually starts further back than your first trade, in how you first learn to relate to money, mistakes, and risk. If money was a source of tension growing up, a trading account can get tangled with an old, familiar fear. Not enough? Need more? Now. If mistakes were met with real anger or withdrawn warmth, a loss stops being one outcome in a process. It becomes a verdict that has to be reversed immediately. That's the emotional engine behind revenge trading. And if being right or winning was how you earned approval, being wrong on a trade can feel threatening to something closer to identity, which is part of why some traders hold losing positions far longer than their plan allows. None of this is a character flaw. It's an old pattern, replaying in a new arena, one where the stakes happen to be visible in dollars. Think of it as a shadow account, not a literal second account, but everything that doesn't fit the disciplined trader persona and so gets pushed out of view. For one trader, that might be an intense need to be right. For another, a deep discomfort with missing out. For someone else, a belief that small, consistent gains are boring. None of these are bad traits on their own. They become shadow material because they never get planned for. And because they're not consciously managed, they don't sit quietly. They show up as a sudden disproportionate action, as a repeating pattern in different clothes, or as projection, blaming the market or other traders for a decision you actually made. That last one is worth a second look in your own trade reviews. The market hunted my stop is sometimes just true, but if it's the explanation after almost every stopped out trade, it's worth asking where that stop was actually placed and why. Here's where we move from understanding the pattern to actually working with it. For your next 10 or 20 trades, your only job is to notice the moment right before you do the thing, right before you move the stop, enter early, or size up beyond your plan. What does that moment feel like? Is there a specific thought, this one's different? I need to make this back. A physical sensation, tightness, a rush, a particular market condition that tends to come right before it, a fast move, a loss right before. Write it down right after in a sentence. Not the outcome, the moment itself. After a handful of these, the pattern usually becomes visible. A specific feeling, thought, or situation that shows up again and again right before the rule gets broken. That sentence is far more useful than I lack discipline because it's specific enough to actually work with. Once you know the trigger, you can build one small structural safeguard around exactly that moment decided in advance, not relying on willpower in the moment it actually counts. That early entry, even though you told yourself you'd wait. That revenge trade, slightly oversized, right after a loss you'd already accepted, until you hadn't. They're not proof you're undisciplined. They're a pattern with a history, one your plan never accounted for. The goal isn't to feel no fear, no urge. No pull toward just this once. That trader doesn't exist. The goal is to notice the pattern early enough that it stops making decisions for you. If this made sense, the deeper patterns, why following your own rules can feel like the hardest part of trading, are exactly what we'll go into next. Subscribe, and I'll see you in the next